my revisiting to the world of miniatures is it's been about a year. I just wanted to share some of the things that I've picked up along the way and just talk about them. Firstly, this all started with me buying the Soul Wars box. There's a lot of miniatures in the Soul Wars box. It's 2 armies. They're not huge, but I mean, it's a lot of miniatures. There's 52 of them, I think. We hear from other people in recommendations where it's maybe like, well, maybe you should start with like just 5 miniatures, or try play Kill Team or something and just get a small squad. And I agree with the fact of getting into actual playing a game, because my army isn't actually finished yet. There's still a few of them left. Like this fella, for example, he's just Zenithal primed. But you can still play with the miniatures without them being painted if you like. So that's I guess the downside. It takes a long time, especially if you're like me and I paint them an hour here and there. The good thing with having a lot of miniatures is you have a lot of miniatures to work on. If you're not all too picky of the army sort of looking exactly the same, as in the quality of the painting, then you can just, okay, so I'll try do this one this way and do this one this way and try new things on everything. You have a lot to experiment with. So that's a good thing with the Soul Wars box, is the amount of miniatures and the chance to just have a lot around. I mean, you don't get as sentimental when you've just got this sea of miniatures in front of you. You're not as sentimental about what exactly would that one look like. And that leads me on to sort of experimenting. I think it's very important. It's been, for me, very important to experiment, not try and, if you just start with the one and say, I'm going to paint them all this way and just try and replicate that, you're probably not going to have as much fun, I don't think. For me, the fun part has been experimenting. So like, okay, this time I'm going to try and do a really rusty weapon, or this time I'm going to try and really make look like the cloaks flying, or whatever. And then I guess it's mainly about finding the inspiration to keep on going with them. One good thing is there's 2 armies. So I've had the Stormcast, and then the Ghostly Nighthaunt. And so I can like paint some Stormcast and paint some Nighthaunt and vary what I'm painting, which keeps me going. Like I pretty much glued all of them together at the same time, but sort of the fixing the bases, the priming, I didn't do it like all the priming first and then all the painting. So I can always go back and do like, I'm tired of painting, I'll just do a base. I bought another packet of these fellas just because I thought I was going to use them in a video, and I didn't. And I realized how fun it was to sit and like, well, fun might be exaggerating it, but I enjoyed just actually gluing miniatures together all of a sudden. So it's nice to have different things to go back and forth with. I haven't got into terrain yet. I've tried making a tree. That was nice as well. So that's something that you could probably alternate with as well. I've got a bit of an issue doing terrain things at the moment because I'm at home. I'm doing all of this from home. Usually I'm at my kitchen table. Terrain takes space and is dusty and things like that. But eventually I'll probably start doing maybe just some scatter terrain, just to have another thing to fiddle about with. Another sort of inspirational source for me is checking out how other people paint. So one thing is obviously just looking at the boxes. Sometimes I find sort of Games Workshop, how they paint the miniatures on the box. I mean, obviously it's really, really good, but it also, sometimes I feel they lack maybe a bit of emotion or something, or feel they're not very grungy, or, they're very correct. So I've been checking out Instagram quite a lot, just to see how other people paint their miniatures, which I think is really fun. I think you have to have a bit of you have to be aware of your own capabilities compared to others. There's tons of people out there, and you're really, really awesome at painting stuff. I'm not. And that's just the fact. I might become better, but I mean, a lot of things you see on Instagram is people that are like the best in the world. And like, it takes a lot of effort to get there. And I'm not putting that kind of effort into my painting, and this is me talking about me doing this for about a year, not 10 or 20 or 30 years. The problem with Instagram is that you just see it here in front of you. It's not like you go to a big race competition, and there's that person way over there, and he's probably really good, but I can't really see it. Now it's just in your pocket, and you pick it up, and you go like, wow, I wish I could paint like that. There's so many things out there that people are better at than me. Most things. Probably all things, there's someone else out there better at it than I am. But that doesn't stop me from getting inspiration. Like, wow, that's cool how they used, like, it just looks like there's a blue light coming from the side. Could I try and do that? Oh, that's really cool. That's really actually dark, or whatever. Like, different styles of painting, and just appreciating that, and maybe try and not paint as well, but use the inspiration to paint something in a similar style. And then just some more practical things, which is things that I would really like to recommend if you're starting out, things I would have wanted someone to tell me the first time I decided to paint. One is the wet palette. You can just type in wet palette on YouTube, and you'll get plenty of videos showing you how to make one and what they're all about. But they're awesome. They basically keeps your paints from not drying while you paint. And you can use it as a palette and mix colors and things like that. It's awesome. The next thing is brushes. Try and clean your brushes well every now and again. I've been trying to find different things to clean my brushes with, all from soap to different not very strong detergents and things like that. Recently, I haven't even tried it. I brought an actual proper brush cleaner from Vallejo. Just try and get as much out of your brush as possible, because it's a waste of just not spending 5 minutes washing them and then having to buy a new one. Third thing is wet blending. Try wet blending. It's fun. It's forgiving. It's tricky. It might feel a bit tricky at first, but after that it's fun. Go ahead, type in wet blending on YouTube and see what you can find. That's something that also kept me going with the painting, because then it's not like, okay, fill in this square black, this square blue, this. It's more of a sort of living painting experience. It feels more like you actually paint. And that has also been sort of a source of inspiration, is actually when I paint, it feels like I'm actually painting something because I use wet blend. Last off is diluting your paint. It sounds like a cliche kind of a thing, but try and dilute your paint. When you use a wet palette, it sort of happens a little bit automatically, especially if you pop water in there, like you have droplets of water. But even adding more and diluting them, and then maybe having to paint something twice, is kind of worth it, because the end result will be a lot nicer. Another thing that I haven't actually done this, and this is a combined kind of a thing. I've been really bad at keeping track of how I paint my things. I think it's nice to probably have like a recipe book or something. So this is how I painted my Stormcast. So if I don't do it for a while, I can go back and check. It's also nice to do it, because sometimes you end up doing something that looks really good, and then you forget how you did it. And that sort of leads me on to, because I've ended up quite a few times making my own washes in a way. Like I had a blend of like 2 or 3 washes that I used on the armor for my Stormcast, and I've had a blend of like 5 or 6 paints that I've been using on the bases and stuff like that. And every time I've been making a new mixture every time, and then I just do a bit on a base and then I throw the rest away, which is a waste of paints and a waste of time. If you get in the habit of mixing your own washes, get some small pots and something and do it in there, and then keep the pot, and then you've got your wash ready to go. This is that's next on my itinerary. I haven't even gotten there yet, but I've gotten into the realization that I should have small pots lying around and where I can keep my wash mixtures in. And just a bit of a thought on consuming things. It's sort of it's a dual. I know it's really fun to buy stuff, and there's so much awesome stuff out there. I've really been trying to tell myself not to buy anything until I finished the Soul Wars box, so you can figure out how that went. But I guess mainly I've been spending money on paint. I haven't been buying all that many miniatures. When I've been buying miniatures, it's actually been sort of for the sake of, I thought I'd like these guys. I thought I'd use them for I wanted to make a video about using contrast paints, and then I realized, no, I'm not going to make a video using contrast paints. I'll just use contrast paints in my videos of whatever I'm painting. I bought these because they were on half price. So I've been pretty good. And with paints, not as good, but sort of. The thing with paints is you can easily blend paints together to find things that you match. And then the more you paint, you sort of go, well, I really like just this blue, and I really want this blue. And then like I did, I tried buy some, no, that's not ink. Like I tried buying ink because I've been like, well, how does an ink work? It was more of a sort of curiosity and wanting to experiment. And I'd say that any curiosity and wanting to experiment is a good, then it's a good buy. But just buying like 10 different, whoa, knocking over sand here. Like buying 10 different greys, buy like a grey and a white and a black instead and mix. All this stuff that we're consuming is in one way or the other affecting the planet. We have to think about that. But also, it's, you know, is it a waste of money having just like 5 greys that you never use? It's more difficult if you paint a lot of different things. Like I've got a plan for I want to try, when I'm done with all the Salt Wars, I want to try and paint some orcs because I really like orcs. Like if there would have been a starter kit for Age of Sigmar, but with orcs, I would have been a happy man. But I'm not. So I was in the shop and I was like, okay, I was there with my son and I was like, I should get this green and should I get this green? And then, you know, and then my son said, oh, it's time to go. No, he didn't. He was just really bored. So I got one of these things. I haven't even opened it yet, which is nice and handy. It said orcs on it and I grabbed it and then we'll see how we go. But anyway, I don't really know why I'm saying that, but you know, trying not to buy things is sometimes difficult, I know. Now last off, so I just need to get rid of my wet palette. Something that I've learned this year, painting my Salt Wars box, I mean basically it comes from me painting miniatures when I was a kid. And that's usually the thing when you're my age, you probably stopped at some point and then started over again. Some people just keep on going, but I think a lot of people stop and then maybe they start. And a good idea is to maybe try and think what you had when you were a kid and where you put them. If you're lucky, you've got a box somewhere, miniatures. And like initially, I was in the basement and I found stuff like this. There's some old shields, pieces of skeletons and horses and stuff like that. And just random bits. And I've been using this to put on my bases. And then all of a sudden I found a box. Let's see if I can get it up. That looks like this. This is what an expert painter I was when I was a kid. There's some stuff in here. And so I thought we might have a look. You know, I don't know what of this I can use, but at least I've got stuff to practice on, right? At the first point, I found just a few of them lying around, and I've already stripped those because I thought they'd be fun. Like, there's these skeletons, and I thought I could use that for like terrain or something. It could be in a mausoleum. And then there's these beast men going. I mean, this fella, he's awesome looking. Dwarf. I don't know what this, like the beastmen I could probably use for, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's a drummer and a standard bearer and stuff like that. So that was my initial find, was like these things, and I stripped them. But then I found, as I showed you, I found the other box. And so there's a dwarf cannon. Oh look, here's for the other fella. There's a dwarf cannon. There's some mining dwarves. These are really cool. And let's see. Okay, so there's there's a whole band of these fellas. And I remember when seeing these, I remember I was sort of into destroying my miniatures. So I sort of sort on different heads and stuff, but these are like Chaos Knights. There's like a bunch of these. What I'm most excited about really is because here's the wings. There's a dragon in here. Here's the guy that's supposed to ride the dragon. Sorry about the noise. Oh, look, there's a troll. See him? Hello. There's the dragon. It's huge, and it's got 2 heads. This is I like this. All brought back a bit of memories. I remember sort of trying to save up for this. It probably took me like 2 years or something, every year saving up. And he's supposed to be on here. That's cool. There's 2 of these fellas. And then, I don't know, there's just bits and pieces. A lot of it is sort of not built or sawn in half, and random things. Like, who's this? I don't know. What's he supposed to be riding? Maybe this thing. What is that? Small goblin. Big orc. Some other chaos stuff. I'll just pull this whole thing out. So you can... This, I think, is something that I've built together, because that head does that? I don't know. This guy somehow got 2 arms. Lots of rats, lots of little these slimy fellas. Some wood elves. Some more of these things. Another orc. So there's quite a lot of stuff. I'm not going through the whole thing, but I'm stoked about this. This dragon is cool. At some point I should strip this and paint it again. I don't know what of this I could use for actual gaming purposes. Maybe these beastmen. I mean, I could use whatever I want and say that it's something else, but you know, maybe some orcs, the troll perhaps. This cannon I should be able to, you know, maybe my Stormcast wants some dwarf cannon friends. If not, I've got plenty of things to practice on. And yeah, stoked about the dragon. Maybe you can tell me who this is, because I can't remember. Thanks for watching this. I hope I didn't bore you too much with all my what I've learned kind of things. I hope that this little treasure trove here would be a bit of a bonus. If you made it through the video for this, then thanks. And please check me out on Instagram if you wish, 52 miniatures, and then you can like there, and you can like here, and you can subscribe on YouTube and all of these things. Bye.